supporters, and welcome back to my channel. We've got to talk about Diddy again, Demon Diddy. So as you guys are well aware, he is currently locked up in New York in a prison as he awaits trial for the very major charges that he is currently facing, including racketeering charges, sex trafficking charges, etc., etc. So if you recall, there was a press conference held by a lawyer who goes by the name of Tony Buzbee, who is handling things on the civil side of Diddy's legal issues. So he is in New York jail for criminal charges that he's facing, but he also is facing a lot of civil lawsuits. And Tony Buzbee is at the head of these lawsuits, and he has been sporadically or periodically providing information about what exactly is going on. So on the criminal side of things, the state of New York, they have set up a hotline for people with tips about Diddy's alleged crimes and whatnot. And Tony Buzbee is doing the same thing on the civil side of things. And so he has provided an update about how that's going, and it's going exactly how you would imagine, right? Given the decades in which this sort of abhorrent behavior has allegedly taken place, etc., the amount of people who were hired to participate in this sort of behavior, the people who were forced, etc., etc. So now Tony Buzbee is saying that he set up that hotline, you guys, and within 24 hours, over 12,000 people called with tips. That's more than he was even expecting at all. And he's saying that now he has hired a team of 100 people or 100 people within, the firm. These are not all lawyers, by the way, but 100 people to index and to, perhaps conduct interviews with alleged victims or people with tips or information about Diddy's alleged wrongdoings over the decades. So this is a very, very, very big story, you guys. I have also been seeing stuff about like other A-listers going down with Diddy. I do want to provide some more context on one of them, Usher in particular. So stay tuned for a video on that. I do have to do some research on it ahead of time before I really get into discussing that. But that is a rather sad story, and I really want to make sure that I do it justice. But getting back to the hotline side of things, let's talk a little bit more about what it is that Tony Buzbee had to say. Okay, he says that our Herculean task is to try to sift through every one of these calls and make sure that we're identifying those who are victims and those who are witnesses and collect evidence. And this was what he said in the statement to the Law and Crime Network. And then he also says that they are focusing on ensuring that the cases are indeed legitimate before seeking action, because of course, as with anything else, there are always bad actors who can come around who are either trying to, throw a wrench in the investigation, right? By providing a lot of BS, bogus info to waste the investigator and to waste the legal team's time, or people who are looking to make a buck, based off of something that didn't even actually happen to them. Of course, there are some people who will always look for an opportunity to ruin, right? To ruin justice or to prevent justice from prevailing. And, this case is no exception, especially with how highly publicized it is. I think it's attracting even more of those types of people than you would imagine for your typical cases anyway, right? And so Tony says that the 120 cases that he and his team announced yesterday are claims that they could file right now against Sean Combs, but they're trying to make sure that when they file the case, they include every potentially liable part. So those are about 120 cases that he has already vetted, and he is ready to put his reputation on the line and to stamp his name in those lawsuits. So that is a lot. So keep in mind that Cassie already won her lawsuit within less than 24 hours. And then between then and now, about 40 people already came forward with their own lawsuits, right? 20 to 40 people. Now you've got this attorney saying that 120 more lawsuits are ready to be filed against Sean Combs or P. Diddy. He has vetted them and everything like that. He has verified their claims, and he is ready to represent them, to the best of his professional ability. And now he's also saying, listen, 12,000 calls came in. These are not 12,000 potential new cases, right? These are people who could have information about other cases, who might have been privy to information, who might have witnessed certain things. So just let's keep that in mind, okay? Now, circling back to the 120 accusers and lawsuits that he is ready to file against Diddy, Tony's also saying, or Mr. Buzbee's also saying, that 25 out of 120, and I like to do math because I really want to know percentages, because to me, 25 out of 120, I can't visualize it. And I'm a visual girly, okay? So 25 divided by 120, that is 21%. So 21% of Diddy's alleged 120 victims were minors at the time of the alleged ABUSE. And that is some really, really shocking, disturbing information to be privy to. But is it surprising? No, because, again, we knew that Diddy, for example, when it comes to the Usher situation, just to turn back to him, we knew that Usher, when he was in his teens, like 13 or something like that, he was living in Diddy's home, right? And Usher has done some interviews where he has talked about living in Diddy's home and how he has witnessed some things that are really, really shocking for, a child's brain. He has hinted at seeing nudity and whatnot. So to me, he was victimized if, all of that he said is true, right? And the fact that he would do that to a celebrity means to me that, like, he's no holds bar when it comes to what he would be willing to do with, just everyday children, right? Again, if this is true, because at the end of the day, Diddy is innocent until proven guilty, right? So I do have to repeat that, even though I believe every single allegation against him. Now, another person that people like to mention as well is Justin Bieber. I don't like to mention him that much because I don't really know. I'm not really all that privy. All I know about Diddy's relationship with Justin Bieber is that he had this weird thing where there was that video that went viral where he's like, Bieber, why don't you come to my house anymore? When you come into my house, like this creepy old man, asking this teenager when he's coming to his house. There was an interview with him and Bieber on some kind of late night show that resurfaced where he said that Bieber knows better than to talk about the things that go on in that house. All sorts of weird things, you know what I mean? So again, these are just celebrity, people who were under the age at the time. So just imagine, what really was happening with these people, right? And just seeing the way he intimidated Bieber during that live taping was also very odd, right? So yeah, just imagine when it comes to children who do not have the millions to back them up and millions of fans, millions of dollars, you name it. Now, Mr. Buzbee is also saying that his firm has been able to corroborate the allegations from the 120 lawsuit complainants that they want to file. They corroborated their allegations via videos, photos, text messages, police reports, and hospital records. So he's saying that these are from some pretty strong cases, more specifically and directly saying, and I quote, most of these events and incidents occurred at parties and after parties or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, and all-white parties. I'm scared to know what a puppy party is, to be honest with you guys. I shudder at the thought, and I really don't even want to go ahead and Google what that is. So when you think about these all-white parties and stuff, it's so scary, right? I bet you all the celebrities who would brag about going to these parties must be just regretting it so hard, because it used to be so cool to go to a Diddy party. He was like the Great Gatsby, of parties and whatnot. And now it's like, oh, you went to a Diddy party? Does that mean that you were doing those freaky things to unwilling participants? So that's got to be really brutal. Again, I do believe that he had two-tiered parties, right? Some parties were specifically for this, like the freak-offs. And then there were also two-tiered parties, like the white party, where after a certain time, there would be a warning, get out of here. Get out of here. You know what this is all reminding me of? Blink Twice, that movie I watched. It's just some really, really jarring stuff. And it seems so timely now with all that's going on with Diddy and whatnot. But, if you really want to get down, you stay. And if you don't, now's the time for you to leave. I believe that that's the sort of announcement that was made. So in that vein, I don't want to say that everybody who went to a white party or who went to a this party or a that party, a Grammy after party, an Oscar after party participated in this sort of behavior. I believe that this was a two-tiered system and that only the people who stayed until the very, very end were complicit in this sort of behavior. Now, again, all of these allegations are stemming from over several decades, right? Some even 3 decades ago, right? So from 1991 up until now in 2024. And now, in addition to Diddy, other celebrities are about to be named in these lawsuits. But the lawyers also saying, hey, these other celebrities do not want their names to be tarnished the way that Diddy's name is being tarnished right now. And so they know to cut the check. Diddy could have saved himself a lot of this if he cut that check to Cassie before she decided to go and file her lawsuit. And these other celebrities are, they've taken note and they're ready to pay, and they are making their payments behind the scenes. But here's my thing. Congrats to them on making their payments. But I feel like I don't know, like, I kind of feel like the feds already know what's been happening, right? Like, I don't think that this means that they're not going to be brought up in the criminal proceedings. But again, it depends on what level of power and influence that they have, right? Politicians are protected, royalty is protected, a certain level of the entertainment class is protected as well, not typically just actors and whatever and musicians. I don't think they're protected, but I think the executives, the people who own these labels and whatnot, those types of people will be protected. So don't expect for everybody to be going down, but I guess some people are trying to save their behinds by going ahead and cutting those checks in the hopes that these victims will not participate in the criminal investigation and the criminal proceedings and the criminal filings against Diddy that could implicate these other people as well. Honestly, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to uncover. We do have to still keep in mind that there's just so much information coming out that sometimes it's important to take a breather, really examine the information that's coming out. And so that's what I've kind of been doing with you guys. Like I don't want to put out just anything. I really want to make sure that this is like some really, strong pieces of information, really relevant pieces of information, not just anything that's just scandalous. You know what I mean? So, and that's the current update for you guys. Okay, 12,000 calls on the Diddy SOS line from people who are claiming to have been victimized by him or witnessed people being victimized by him. Over 100 staff members are on the case, sifting through all that information. And speaking of the 100s, 120 lawsuits are ready to go against Sean P.Diddy Combs. They have been corroborated in terms of video evidence, photo evidence, text message evidence, police reports, and hospital medical files as well. There's a lot coming down the pipeline, and some of his A-list buddies, one of them seems to be Usher, which is something that Radar Online has been very heavily hinting at. And again, I am doing my investigation on that, and I'm hoping to come back with you guys with proper information on that either Wednesday, so tomorrow, or Thursday. Okay, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will be ready to share as much with you as I know by then. All right, you guys, take good care of yourselves. Have a great day, evening, depending on where you are and what time it is in the world for you. All right, bye guys. See ya.